I will be exploring all of them. By the way guys, just remember that just be straight up. Johto came to the conclusion that Johto is just gym battles and the Silver Conference. In free time, Heracross would probably be the ace of Pokemon compared to it. Bailey was also a strong Pokemon, but apart from that, other team members didn't really benefit from the crucial wins compared to others. Not really. It was good though that we got to see exciting power based on appearances. Totodile was literally a comedic Pokemon that didn't really push any way back. Well, it was a easy that Pokemon that just managed to be a slugger, but it was good to see a return in Adrian. Overall, Johto just lacked a lot of potential to serve the Pokemon. Some did carry their way, but seeing as others did
talk about Unova, this team of Ashes, in my opinion, is by far my least favorite. However, it does have some power. First, we have the Snipey. Snipey has proven herself time and time again, being able to use a track and just being overly all cunning with the way she battles. The next is a real powerhouse, and that's Crocodile. As we all know, Crocodile is a Pokemon that has an impressive track record across the Unova team. The battle it had against Iris was pretty epic, and it also helped Ash score some cool points in the Unova League. And it also eliminated Stefan from the tournament. As for the rest of this team though, I'm going to keep it brief. Oshawott is a very attention-seeking Pokemon, and I find him to be very annoying. However, it did help Ash with the trio match. It helped defeat Steven's Blitzle, place Croc Rock, and it even helped Ash capture a Temple. On Pheasant, yeah. Weaveni is actually decent, and one of my favorite Pokemon that he has on his Unova team. It won battles against Bird, and got Ash into the second round of the Junior Cup. Palpitoad is forgotten, but it's not bad. It got Ash to the final of an Embalsam Pokemon Club battle, and it took down Oasis Abstraga. And that's pretty much it. Bulldor I forgot he even had, although I don't keep the stick. Bulldor took down Excadrill getting the quick badge for Ash, and it also got Ash into the semifinals of the Junior Cup. So yeah, overall, this team is not impressive, but it's better than Johto by a little bit.
Next up on the list we've got Hurrian. This team was a bit of a mix and match. There were some great Pokemon, and others just didn't meet the expectations. Sceptile really made a staple in this team, coming clutch on many occasions, especially during its time as a Trico and Crowbar. Swellow was also another fantastic addition. From its very first encounter, to later on bagging wins during gym battles, the victory tournament, and even getting stuck in the Battle Hunt gym. Let's also not forget the iconic win against Winona Shine as well. I would bring up Thunder Armor also, but I think that's self-explanatory. Corphish was kind of decent. They managed to take down Flannery Macargo and Juan Londis, alongside teaming up with Swallow against Tucker. We really reckon if it evolved into Crawler, this guy could have become this much more. Torkoal was simply a crybaby that had minimal impact on his team. The amount of times this guy got knocked out in a single hit was just so infuriating. The worst thing about it is that this guy had a very powerful moveset, and that could have made it a very strong fire type amongst the other fire types and opponents. It's a shame it wasn't executed correctly. I also feel sorry for it how it could have knocked over a soccer ball. Poor guy. Now, Blaine was really an underrated Pokemon that allowed Ash to win some crucial matches, defeating a Charizard and a Tank, both Pokemon that are super effective against it. I wish this Pokemon came back with some more screen time to develop. Hover was a pretty decent team overall, and to be fair, some of these Pokemon did help him a lot greatly in the Battle Hunt team, but we're just talking about on an overall aspect.
Coming up, right after Ash's homing team, we have his original Kanto team. Now, Ash's original Kanto team has a lot of power, regardless of if Bulbasaur and Squirtle are not fully evolved. Ash has proved time and time again that with non-fully evolved Pokemon, they can be just as powerful as any Pokemon League, to the Orange Islands, and even Johto. Up next is Charizard, and as we know, Charizard is one of Ash's most powerful Pokemon. However, Charizard can't carry the team. Plus, there's also the fact that Charizard didn't obey Ash for the Orange Islands anyways. So a lot of the time, Ash only had a certain amount of Pokemon he could use to rely on. For example, Pikachu, Squirtle, Pidgeotto, Snorlax for a brief time, and then Bulbasaur. We all know what happened with Pidgeotto though. He released that Pokemon along with Lapras, Haunter, and Primal. So Ash lost a lot of power when he released a lot of those Pokemon. I will admit though, he does have Pokemon like Kingler, Mark, and Taurus who have proved their marking victories. Taurus didn't do bad in the Orange Islands, but it's not great. Kingler is stupid, but it won somehow. And Muck helped out in the Pokemon League against Bellsprout, that's pretty good too. However, Ash only used these Pokemon for a few battles only. We don't truly know how strong these Pokemon are, because of how inconsistent they are. With Bulbasaur, Pikachu, Squirtle, and Charizard though, with how much they've been through together, I will gladly place them here on this list, which is pretty much dead right smack in the middle. If Ash were to have used Muck and his other Pokemon consistently, I would have no problem including his Kanto team higher. His Pokemon are great. A lot of them just got released, and the others just didn't get a good chance to show.
That's a call book with Ash for whatever you need. For fun, get you done. And for everything in between. Alright, what's next? Switch to Ash for whatever you need. Switch to Chromebook.
For Canadians who made it and who are making it, Vanguard offers high-quality, low-cost investments that meet the needs of all Canadians. Vanguard is investing for the 100%.
Giant. Just missing out on the top 3 spot is Ash's Synergy. This was a well-rounded team that made a huge contribution in getting Ash closer to the Lily of the Valley Conference. Staraptor was one of the cooler flying-type Pokemon that Ash had in his belt. It managed to bag itself a few wins, and even the Pokerings competition also was a nice touch, especially reminding us of whether and how they won its Pokerings range. Of course, our first evolution was the second. Since being traded from Dawn, Weasel managed to secure wins even performing some very unique combinations. The most popular being Counter Shield, Ice Uncle Jet, and the combination of Water Pulse and Uncle Jet together during the iconic battle between Lily. Defeating its evolution was a highlight as well, and with the characteristics of that with both mentality and edge, it could be classed as one of Ash's strongest water types. Since evolving and training from Ash, Glycol proved itself to be confident whilst keeping its beauty personality. The best win was against Paul's Drapion, defeating a Pokemon that took out 3 of Ash's Pokemon prior. With Gibble only managing to secure 2 wins against Conway's Dusknoir and Shuffle, this is the only thing it had going for it. To be fair, it was caught late, and after Mastering Drake and Legion having the compliment of the bias, it was quite heartwarming to see. If only we saw it evolve further. Moving on to Infernape, this guy's backstory sold it all for us, and it really solidified its power, finally taking down Paul the Lily of the Valley Conference. The build-up was great, and seeing it control its reserve stage finally during the battle against Ultimate and Showtime Fire against Ultimate stages. Seeing it win various gym battles during its primary stages was very impressive. The one Pokemon that was weighing this team down quite a lot was Torterra. This Pokemon was much better as a third wing, showing us great speed, and even as a grower it managed to pull some of its weight as well. However, upon evolving into its final stage, it just went really downhill, and looks a lot of potential of how strong it could be. Paul's Torterra really overshadowed Ash's. Overall, Ash's Synergy had a lot of great qualities, showing power, diversity, and development. It's just a shame that a few Pokemon smacked a little bit, reaching the top 2 spots.
So, without spoiling too much about journeys, this team is looking to be the strongest one. However, with not enough information present yet, we can't put it at the top. What we can do, though, is put it in third place. Ash has a Dragonite, a future Lucario, and a Gengar. And if Ash keeps getting Pokemon like this, we're in for a ride. Dragonite battled Corina's Mega Lucario like a champion. Gengar is getting stronger, and with Riolu evolving soon, who knows how powerful that can be, especially with Ash's history with Aura. Who knows what other Pokemon he'll get? Only time will tell. And let me tell you, I'm excited. He also gets a newer Pokemon, but I won't spoil that. Overall though, this team is very powerful already, and I'm super excited to see the potential it brings to the competition.
Grabbing the silver medal really to be the pinnacle of the team, it still allowed others to do a good job. Starting with Marucha, we really love this Pokemon unique battle style. Being the elder brother to Noivern was a great turn, and seeing it avenge against Weavile shows off its determination. It's also shown off its great power in battle against Karina's Simultaneous, along with Weavile, Astrid, Mega Absol, and even the Forest Cat. Simultaneous was a great flying type, gaining wins during the course of the duration against Ramon, Cynthia, Karina, Wolfbridge, and even going head-to-head with the last 100 million. Saying they didn't manage to grab the win against Moltres though. The Lugia's younger brother Noivern was such a cool Pokemon, but his battle capabilities were appalling, costing it from actually bagging some wins under its name. Lugia, on the other hand, was a Pokemon of region greatness, almost bagging a win in every match, apart from the one that it came back one of those recordings. Oh boy, what happened here, Bruce? This Pokemon was a full-on beast. It's just a shame we never saw the beast and its true power of the Lugia's conference. And finally, we have the boy himself, Ghana. There's so much I can say about Ranger, but I think it's just self-explanatory. The whole development it received from the start to now, alongside matching raw power despite fan popularity, really showed off how great it was in battle. Combining all of these aspects together, it really did create a solid team for Ash, and it couldn't beat this next yet. But I'm sure we all know they're going to be right at the top development still.
Yep, coming up for Ash's strongest regional team, we have his Alolan one. Ash officially won the league with this team, having the power of Lycanroc, Melganadel, Incineroar, Rowlet, and Melmetal. Right off the bat, Ash already has 2 extremely powerful Pokemon, having an Ultra Beast and a Mythical. Not to mention, he's also got 2 very powerful fully evolved Pokemon, being a starter, and one of his most powerful Pokemon of Gen 7 being Lycanroc. Hopping into the first 2 Pokemon I mentioned, has a very powerful arc within the series. It appeared as a point fault, and magically appeared to help Ash defeat Kukui. Lycanroc trimmed its butt off and took down Olivia's Lycanroc. Ash's Torque Cat had a huge rivalry with Kukui's Incineroar, and that was also very powerful to see. Rowlet is probably my favorite though, due to it having the Squirtle Bulbasaur treatment. That essentially means non-fully evolved Pokemon can flourish and be strong. Rowlet defeated Howl's Decidueye in the league, so it was really cool to see some non-fully evolved Pokemon power. Now model is kind of just there, but it's still powerful. I mean, hey, it's still mythical, right? Other than that though, this team won the championship, and thus, I congratulate Ash on a well-won victory. Well, that pretty much wraps up this ranking analysis of all of Ash's teams' weakest and strongest. I feel Raptor actually did a pretty good job ranking these, and I thought he also provided pretty good reasons for how they were placed. Of course though, let us know how you feel down below. Also, huge shout out again for Raph for joining me on this awesome ranking list.
Thanks so much for having me, bro. It was a blast going through these rankings with you. But don't forget guys, find us and stop here. Be sure to check out the videos down on my channel where we'll be exploring all of the gigantic Pokemon that Ash has. You can find the video located in the description, my card, and any card as well.
If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream all sorts of games from Pokemon, to Fire Emblem, to Zelda, and much more. I also have an anime channel called Mystic Sage, where I do anime.
Notable wins include Roxanne's Ghost Pass, Shala's Metatype, Watson Toll.
While my granddaughter is thinking about what's next, it's important she knows about our family's past.
So a few years ago, around the time of the XY anime, you might remember this image floating around, talking about the win rate of all of Ash's Pokemon. Alright, seems pretty cool. We got my boys Greninja for an 8 side to side, and Kuja's 100%? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, that's definitely not right. This was actually done before we knew about Kuja's underwhelming return in the Kalos team. So for the longest time, people would say that Kuja was Ash's best Pokemon because it has a 100% win rate. Yeah, okay. Since then, Ash had many more battles, caught a bit more Pokemon, and I've even seen multiple other attempts at this whole win rate thing, but something always seemed slightly off to me. So I figured it was about time I threw my hat into the ring. In celebration of World Ash Veteran Day, the day Ash won the Alola League, oh my god, I'm late, I'll be going over the true win rate for all of Ash's Pokemon, until Sunday. Because Journeys isn't done, there's really no point in going over Ash's Journeys team just yet, as their win rate is going to end up changing by Ash's next battle. So I'll take that for when the series is over. As for the rest of Ash's Pokemon, it's all fair game. So with that out of the way, let's get started. Before getting into the Pokemon's win rates, first let's go over the rules to determine what I'll be counting as battles. I'm going to be counting gym and league battles. I'll be counting every official battle Ash has had. Rule number 1. Competitions where Pokemon can attack one another is considered a battle. So that means I'll be counting things like Pokemon Sumo, Pokeringer, Pokemon Contest, etc. The Pokemon are technically battling each other in these competitions, and I feel like not counting them would kind of discredit the skills and strengths that were put on display. Rule number 2. All parties must consent to having the battle. So Team Rocket battles, they don't count. Most of the time they're just attacking Ash, so he has to defeat them to defend himself. Exceptions are if they have a more proper battle, like the pre-trial battle Ash had with them in Alola. Rule number 3. A loss is not counted if Ash's opponent cheated. Pretty straightforward. If the person cheated, it's not really fair for Ash's Pokemon, is it? There is an exception to this rule, however. If the opponent cheats and Ash does win, then it counts, because it just shows how skilled Ash and his Pokemon were to overcome those difficult odds. Rule number 4. Wild battles only count if a judge is present. Most of the time, battles against wild Pokemon don't really count, as Ash isn't facing off against a trainer, but there are a few rare wild battles that are treated as official matches, so I think those should count. This rule especially comes into play for Ash's totem battles, which are technically against wild Pokemon, but are treated seriously in Alola. Rule number 5. If one of the participants interrupts the battle, it counts. You pretty much forfeit the battle when you do that, especially when you're losing, so that counts as a loss in my book. The only exceptions are if the battle is interrupted by external forces, like Team Rocket. I won't be counting them. Rule number 6. Battles a Pokemon had before or after being rolled by Ash do not count. Pretty simple. The win rates are to measure the Pokemon's abilities while being under Ash's ownership. The battles they had after, and especially before being with Ash, didn't count, as they aren't Ash Pokemon by that point. However, I will be counting battles a Pokemon have if they're being followed by someone else, because they still technically belong to Ash while taking part in these official battles. Rule number 7. Battles of multiple Pokemon are treated as one. This rule is for double and tag battles. Instead of counting each Pokemon as individuals and saying that they each got 2 wins thanks to a double battle, the wins will be counted as just 1 for the overall team. The only exceptions are for Pokemon is defeated in a double or tie battle, but was able to get a win right before that. They still get the win, but they also take a loss as well. This rule also applies to those situations where Ash agrees to take on a horde of Pokemon at the same time and defeats them all with Pikachu's Thunderbolt. Counting all of those wins as individuals would just inflate Pikachu's numbers, so they're being treated as just 1. And finally, rule number 8. Movie battles do not count. This is just to avoid confusion, as not all Pokemon movies are canon. I know I made a video going over what's canon and what's not, but that still doesn't change the fact that some aren't canon and others are unknown. Also, some people might disagree with me and see all movies as non-canon. So I won't be counting any of them, and will just be sticking to the main anime's continuity. And that pretty much sums up all the rules for what I'm counting as official battle. Sorry that took so long, but these guidelines were necessary to get the most accurate scores possible. Huge shout out to Bisharp, who actually reached out to me and helped come up with most of these rules. I will be going over every detail in this video as it would make this longer than it already is, so in the description below is a link to the document where I recorded every Pokemon's wins and losses, but maybe wait till the end of the video before clicking that so you don't get spoiled. One last thing I'd like to mention also is the fact that don't take these win rates as the end-all be-all for these Pokemon. Just because a Pokemon has a higher win rate than another doesn't automatically make it better, as some might have more battles than the other, which could affect said win rate. The point I'm trying to make here is that don't take this too seriously. I just thought it'd be fun to see how many wins and losses actually Pokemon have. Now it's finally time to go over the win rates, which will be rounded off to the nearest whole number. I'll be going over the Pokemon from lowest to highest, but I'll be making an exception for just 2 Pokemon, and you'll soon understand why. It's Lapras and Primeape. Lapras has only had 1 official battle, against Drake's Gengar, and it ended in a tie. That puts its win rate at 50%, but I didn't want to count it in the rankings because just 1 tie is not enough data for a win rate. Then there's Primeape, who was able to get 3 wins in the P1 Grand Prix. These are the only battles it's ever had while being with Ash, so that puts its win rate at an impressive 100%. Take that, Kudra. Unfortunately, it gets stolen, I mean sent away for training after this, and we haven't seen it since. I didn't feel comfortable adding it to the rankings when it only battled for 1 episode, because if it had at least 1 more battle in another episode, it probably would have lowered its win rate. But if you ever wondered if Ash had an undefeated Pokemon before, now you know. It's Primeape. Alright, now for the rankings. Coming in at dead last is a Pokemon with 2 wins and 6 losses. With a humiliating 28% win rate, we have Glycor. This would hurt to see. Guess it just goes to show that you need more than just personality to succeed. Glycor's only wins are against Byron's Bastiodon and then Paul's Drapion. Some of its notable losses are against Paul's Gliscor, Paul's Torterra, against Scizor twice, and Paul's Electabuzz. Next up is a Pokemon with 1 win, 3 losses, and 1 tie. With a win rate of 30%, we have Noivern. This one is pretty predictable, as he didn't get much battle experience, and that's why. Noivern's only win is against Sawyer's Doublin. It goes against Alon's Britannia, Sawyer's Clawitzer, and Alon's Weavile, and is tied against Sawyer's Salamence in the Kalos League. Next, we have a Pokemon with 1 win and 2 losses. With a win rate of 83%, it's Butterfree. Now, what's unfortunate about Butterfree is that its only win is just a technicality, and that's when the gentleman Ash battles in the same hand decides to call the battle a draw but eradicate when needs to. Yeah, right, buddy. You just didn't want to lose. As for its losses, they come from Misty Staryu and AJ Sancho. Now for Pokemon with 2 wins and 4 losses, rocking a 33% win rate, just like Butterfree, it's Pidgeot. I was actually surprised, because all my life I thought Pidgeot never won a single battle, but I was wrong. Pidgeot's won against its friend of Pidgeotata, and the Rhydon just used the Viridian Gym. Some notable losses though come from Samurai's Pinsir Freezer, AJ Sandshrew, and Koga's Venomon.
Koga?
No, not that one. Not yet. Up next is a Pokemon with 4 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie. With a 38% win rate, give it up for Ash's Torkoal, everybody. Another Pokemon that is notoriously known for not winning all that much. Can you believe that his first win was actually an off-screen battle? That was kinda messed up. Other wins include Norman Slackoff, this random dude Scizor, and Tyson Shins. As for his losses, some notable ones are against Norman Vigoroth, Orson's Felix, Tyson's Hariyama, Brandon's Registeel, and Tobias' Darkrai. Again, don't forget losing to Watson's Electric that used Thunder Wave. Its only ties against Dominic's Tropius in the Hoenn. Now time for a Pokemon with 8 wins and 13 losses. With the same 38% win rate as Torkoal, ironically, it's Torterra. Not looking so good for Ash's Turtles right now. To be fair, it has some pretty solid wins as a Turtwig. Some of these include Voltron Pardos, the Champ Twins, Gardenia's Turtwig, and Reggie's V-Baron. Unfortunately, after it evolved, it was putting a lot of tough matches, like against Paul's Honchkrow twice, Candace's Abomasnow, Palmer's Rhyperior, Bertha's Hippowdon, and Paul's Drapion. Yeah, that really messed up its win rate. Next up is a Pokemon with 2 wins and 3 losses, with the win rate getting to battle all that much. So it didn't have many opportunities to increase its win rate. Its notable wins are against Clay's Excadrill, but it also snagged a quick win in the Junior Cup. Its losses are against Bianca and Juniper, where Silent had to carry that battle, Roxy's Coughing, and Cameron's Hydreigon. Now with 2 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie, with a 41% win rate, we have Tauros. The only one Ash used. Or like, used to use. Tauros' wins come from Drake's Venusaur and Fernando's Tauros. Its losses come from Drake's Dragonite, Gary's Nidoqueen, and Annabelle's Alakazam, and it's tied against Annabelle's Metagross. Next up, we have a Pokemon with 6 wins, 9 losses, and 1 tie. With a 41% win rate, we have Weasel. Weasel is such a cool Pokemon that loves to battle, so I was not expecting it to lose as much as it did. Some notable wins come from Kashawake's Floatzel, Fantina's Gengar, Clayton's Mr. Mime, and Paul's Gastrodon. As for its losses, it gets them from Kyle's Lantern in the Wallace Cup, Fantina's Drifblim, Byron's Felix, Paul's Ursaring, Link's Infernape, Kenny's Empoleon, and Paul's Drapion. My god. And as you don't know, Weasel's only tie comes from Mainling's Lucario, one of my personal favorites in gym battles. Next is a Pokemon with 5 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie. With a 42% win rate, it's Oshawott. Yep, I can't believe we live in a world where Oshawott has a higher win rate than Weasel. Some of its wins include Silence Pansage, Stephen's Blipsel, Clay's Krokorok, and Cadbury's Dewott. Some of its losses come from Trip's Tranquil, Mr. Bianca's Dazzler Manitan, Chili's Panseer, Somehow, Cameron's Hydreigon, and Charon's Herdier. Its only tie comes from Lenore's Watchon. Now coming in with 3 wins and 4 losses, with a 43% win rate, here we have Donphan. A Pokemon that didn't get to do that much because of its late intro in Johto, but was actually given a second chance during the Battle Frontier. It's won against a random Machoke in the Johto League, Macy Slugma, and Lucy Survivor. Meanwhile, its losses come from Price's Dewgong, Macy's Quilava, Lucy's Milotic, and Conway's Dusknoir. Same as Donphan, this next mod has 3 wins and 4 losses. With a 43% win rate, we have Heracross. Another Pokemon I expected to do better, but it's Professor Oak's fault for stealing it during Johto. He could have been the ace, man. Heracross's wins come from Shingo Scizor, which is a great battle by the way, Gary's Magmar, and Nando's Kricketune. As for his losses, it gets them from Michelle's Donphan, Gary's Blastoise, Spencer's Venusaur, and Tobias' Darkrai. Now this Johtomon has 5 wins and 6 losses. With a 45% win rate, it's Ash's Totodile. Like I said before, this is a Pokemon that didn't really do that much with Ash. It doesn't get its first win till the World Cup against a random Seal, and then a Shelter. Some other notable wins are against the Charizard Jesse used and Harrison's Sneasel. Some notable losses are against Whitney's Miltank twice, Missy's Poliwhirl, Macy's Electabuzz, and Harrison's Hypno. And I think that just about wraps up the worst of the worst when it comes to Ash's Pokemon. At least worse in terms of win rate. Now we've reached the midpoint. Not too good just yet, but not bad either.
Thanks for meeting with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Operations?
Operating.
Marketing?
We are getting mad click-throughs.
Finance? Actually, we could use some help.
This next Pokemon has only 1 win and 1 loss, giving it a 50% win rate, and and that Pokemon is Naganadel. Now, to be fair, it never had an official battle as a Toy Bowl, and its only official battle is against Kukui, where it wins against Lucario and then loses to Tapu Koko. Next up is another Pokemon with 1 win and 1 loss. With a 50% win rate, it's Mud. Yet another Pokemon that didn't get to do that much, but unlike Naganadel, where you can kind of excuse it because it got released in the same series it came back in, Mud has been there since Gen 1, but its only win is against Jeanette's Bellsprout, and then its only loss is against Gary Scizor in the Johto. So we haven't seen much battle since Gen 2. It's pretty insane. Now for a Pokemon with 2 wins and 2 losses, giving us a 50% win rate, we have Gallo. He's another one of those Pokemon that Ash catches late into a series, which is why he hasn't had a whole lot of battle. Its only official wins come from the same battle against Connolly, one against Shuckle and the other against Dusknoir. After its losses, it comes from Barry's Apollyon and then Tobias' Darkrai. Alright, this next Pokemon has 3 wins and 3 losses. With a 50% win rate, it's Shit Peasant. Not gonna lie, I was expecting this to be a lot lower, but turns out it didn't really battle all that much, so it didn't rack up as many losses as it probably should. Its only wins are against Thorn and Rocco, Skyla Schoolbat, and against Skyla Swarna. Its losses come from Trip Frillish, Roxy's Coughing, and Cameron Rioli. That was bad. With 6 wins and 6 losses, we have another 50% win rate. This time, it's Snivy. Sure, Snivy was always hyped up to be very experienced. This was kind of a disappointment in my opinion. Some notable wins are against Trip Servine, Georgia's Pawnyard, Clay's Palpitoad, and Moira Cinchino while being used by Iris. As for its losses, some big ones come from Elise's Emolga, Seamus' Emboar and Heatmore, and Cameron's Lucario. Now this next one has had a bit more balance, with 9 wins, 9 losses, and 1 tie, sitting at 50% as well. We have Talonflame. It was never really a Pokemon Ash would use as a finisher, you know? It was more of the one that Ash would use to get some good wins at the beginning of a battle, but as a result, it usually meant that it was going to lose right after as well. But don't let that take away from its good wins. Some notable ones are against Karina's Machoke, Ramos' Jumpluff, Valerie's Sylveon, and Olympia's Meowsticks. Some losses include Karina's Mega Lucario, Ramos' Weepinbell, Wolfrick's Abomasnow, and Sawyer's Clawitzer, while its high comes from Alonzo Pheasant, the only Pheasant I respect. Next is a Pokemon with 9 wins, 8 losses, and 1 tie. With a 53% win rate, we have Quilava. Now we're getting into the Pokemon that have more wins than losses. And Quilava's one that was pretty solid for Ash, especially in early Johto. Notable wins include OG Sandslash, Bugsy Scyther, Mickey Skarmory, Jasmine Steelix, and Price's Dugong. Some of its losses are from Whitney's Miltank, Morty's Haunter, a Venusaur Guard by James, and Jackson's Magneton. And as for its tie, it gets that from Nando's Armaldo, its only official battle as a Quilava so far. Next is a Mon with 9 wins and 8 losses. With the 53% win rate like Quilava, we have the Luchador Hawlucha. Much like Talonflame, Hawlucha was more of an opener / mid-battle type of Pokemon. But the difference here is that I got a bit more battles to finish off. Some wins include Clement's Heliolisk, Valerie's Spritzy, Wolfrick's Abomasnow, Astra's Mega Absol that we didn't get to see, and Along's Weavile. While some tough losses come from Moira's Talonflame, Ramos' Weepinbell, Sawyer's Slaking, and Along's Bisharp. That damn Bisharp. Now for Pokemon with 11 wins and 9 losses. With a win rate of 55%, we have Staraptor, one of Ash's most popular birds. Notable wins include Gardenia's Cherubi, Bailey's Machoke, Paul's Honchkrow, Candace's Metachan, and Paul's Weavile. And notable losses come from Gardenia's Turtwig, Slice, Bailey's Lucario, Paul's Ursaring, Gando's Armaldo, and Paul's Busted Drapion. Next up is a Pokemon with 16 wins, 13 losses, and 1 tie. With a 55% win rate, surprisingly, it's Ash's Sceptile. Yeah, I know. This comes as a shock because Sceptile is Ash's ace of the Advanced Series. But man, did he lose a lot as a Trico and Grovyle. That really screwed over his win rate, sadly. Some wins include Brawling's Hariyama, Norman's Slacking, Winona's Altaria, Clark's Quilava, Katie's Walrein, Morrison's Helix, Spencer's Clado, and Tobias' Darkrai. Pretty impressive. But it's also had a lot of losses from Pokemon like Roxanne's Geodude, Rick's Altaria, Juan's Luvdisc, Clark's Charizard, Tyson's Metagross, Greta's Hariyama, Its Regirock, and Tobias' Latios, to name a few. Its This one tie comes from Mace Blaziken at the Terracotta Contest. With 4 wins and 3 losses, with a 57% win rate, it's another grass type. And this Pokemon was actually solid when it was being used. It's won against Berg's Level, Berg's Whirlipede, Roxy's Coffin, and Maris's Carablast, while it lost against Berg's Vivani, Roxy's Scolipede, and Steven's Song. I will say though, it was a pretty great match. Now for a Pokemon with 3 wins, Palpitoad. I'm not joking. Man, Sceptile fans must be fuming right now. The fact that its win rate is worse than Palpitoad, Panini Manny, damn. To be fair though, Palpitoad doesn't have a ton of battle under its belt, so its win rate could have shifted drastically if it got 2 or 3 more battles. It got wins from Burgundy Stoutland, Dino Darumaka, and Alisa Zebstrika. Took losses from Alisa Zamolka and Roxy's Garbodor, and tied against Stuven Zebstrika. Alright, next month. This one's got 7 wins and 5 losses. With a win rate of 58%, we got Squirtle. Interestingly enough, although Ash caught Squirtle near the very beginning of the series, it doesn't get wins or losses recorded until like Blink, where it lost. Other losses include Richie's Butterfree, some random Tauros trainer, Drake's Dragonite, and Brandon's Solrock. Luckily, the little Squirt Turtle has some decent wins as well. Some notable ones are against Rudy Starmie, Drake's Onix, Macy's Electabuzz, and Brandon's Ninjas. Now for a Pokemon with 13 wins, 9 losses, and 2 ties. With a 58% win rate, it's Pignite. What's interesting about Pignite is that it was actually sitting at a 50% win rate post-Lunala. But in the Ecuador Islands, Ash used it in Pokemon Sumo, which added 4 more wins right before Black and White ended. I guess the Ecuador Islands was hopeful for something after all. Some other notable wins include Lenora Verdier, Janus's Emboar and Beatmore, Bryce's Cryogonal, Roxy's Scolipede, and Cameron's Hydreigon. Notable losses include Ingo and Emmett, Bryce's Beartic, Trip Superior, and Cameron Samura, and is tied against Trip's Vanillite and Dom's Mamoswine. Now for a real interesting one. This Pokemon sits at 14 wins and 10 losses. With a 58% win rate, we have Ash's Pikachu in Johto. That's right, I'll be separating Pikachu by region, as he has varying performances in each one. But don't worry, because once we're all done with every Pokemon, I'll be ending it off by revealing Pikachu's true win rate. But for now, it looks like Johto was Pikachu's worst region. Notable wins include Falkner's Dodrio, Whitney's Miltank, Satsuki's Jolteon, Price's Piloswine via Forfeit, Claire's Gyarados, and Harrison's Kecleon. Notable Johto losses include Faulkner's Pidgeot, Bugsy's Scyther, Misty's Togepi, hilariously enough because they refused to battle it, Whitney's Miltank, Wody's Ghastly, Chuck's Poliwrath, Jasmine's Steelix, Claire's Dragonair, and Harrison's Sneasel. Yeah, it didn't help that Pikachu was using every Johto gym battle because they got a lot of losses from that. Speaking of Johto, this next mon has 6 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. With a 59% win rate, we have Ash's Bailey. Notable wins include Bugsy's Spinarak, Misty Staryu, Ephraim's Skiploom, Chuck's Machoke, and Harrison's Houndoom. Its losses come from Faulkner's Houndoom, Bugsy's Metapod, Gary's Blastoise, and Harrison's Blaziken, and lastly, its only tie is against Delaney's Poliwrath. Next is the Pokemon with 15 wins, 10 losses, and 2 ties. With a 59% win rate, we have Ash's Pikachu in Sinnoh. This one caught me by surprise. To think that Sinnoh Pikachu would be the second worst. Notable wins include Rourke's Onix, Dawn's Banerian Weasel, Sho's Raichu, Crash Awake's Gyarados, Gary's Empoleon, Volkner's Electivire, and Paul's Frostlass. Notable losses include the likes of Rourke's Onix as well, Sho's Raichu as well, Pantina's Drifblim twice, Paul's Ursaring, Flip's Infernape, Volkner's Luxray, and Paul's Electivire. And interestingly enough, its 2 ties come from Paul's Elekid and Tobias's Latios, its first and last battle in Sinnoh. Now this Pokemon has 3 wins and 2 losses. With a 60% win rate, we have Noctowl. He didn't get many battles, but at least he got 1 more win than a loss. Its wins come from Morty's Haunter, Morty's Gengar, and Conway's Licky Licky, while its losses come from Harrison's Felix and Conway's Dusknoir. Similar to Noctowl, we have another Pokemon with 3 wins and 2 losses. With a 60% win rate, this time it's Ash's Meltdown. Although it's a latecomer to Ash's Alola team, it's still putting some work. Its wins come from Ryuki's Wireless and Dredigan, Mama's Hypno, and Kukui's Empoleon, while its only losses are from Gladiol's Savalai and Kukui's Incineroar. With 16 wins, 10 losses, and 2 ties, sitting at 60%, we have Corfish. Do not sleep on the boy Corfish, because he's done a lot of battles. Almost as many as Sentinel wins now, which is insane. Some notable wins are against Brawley's Machop, Flannery Sport Gold, Juan Cilio and Sea King, Hades Gold Duck, Tucker's Arcanine and Swampbird, and Annabelle's Alakazam. Some notable losses are from Brawley's Hariyama, Honcho's Ludicolo, Juan's Whiscash, Annabelle's Metagross, and Nurse Joy's Chansey. And his 2 ties come from Natasha's Slugma and Morrison's Swampbird. Now, with 4 wins, 2 losses, and 3 ties, sitting at 61%, we have Scraggy. This little dude started out weak, but really came into his own and got some decent wins later on. These include Angus's Simisage, Betty's Simipour, Bryson's Vanillish, and the Tharumaka in the Universe. His losses come from Montgomery's Throne and Bryson's Cryalgo, and his ties come from Iris's Axie, twice, and a Wild Logitech. Now we have a Pokemon with 17 wins and 11 losses. With a win rate of 61% once again, we have Pikachu in Kanto, which includes the Orange Island. Not really surprised here, considering back in Kanto, Pikachu was used for almost everything. Some of his wins include Brock's Geodude, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu, like 5 wins thanks to Misty, which he used in the Princess Festival tournament, Blank's Rhydon, Pete's Arcanine, Richie's Butterfree, and Drake's Dragonite, and some of his losses come from Brock's Onix, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu, Sabrina's Kadabra, Jeanette's Bellsprout, Lorelei's Cloyster, and Gary's Eevee. Next up is a Pokemon with 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. With a 63% win rate, give it up everyone for Ash's Goodra. Oh wow, look who's not 100%. Yeah, we should all know by now that Goodra jumped hard in the Kalos League. Jesse, Winona Swallow, Kate Eliza's Lunaton and Soul Rock, Juan's Whiscash, Tyson's Dogfan, and Spencer's Venusaur. Notable losses come from June's Roselia, Bass Torchic, Juan's Milotic, Tyson's Metagross, and Tobias' Logos, while his only tie comes from Morrison's Gligar in the Hoenn League. Now for a Pokemon with 7 wins and 4 losses. With a win rate of 64%, it's the league winner, Lycanroc. Now we're getting into the really good Pokemon. Notable wins for Lycanroc include Olivia's Lycanroc, Nano's entire team, Gladion's Lycanroc, and Kiawe's Charizard. While its losses come from Gladion's type Null, Nano's Crocodile, Gladion's Lycanroc, and Kukui's Dravian. Now for a Mon with 3 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties. With a 67% win rate, we have Glalie. This Pokemon was actually pretty solid when it came to the Hoenn League. Such a shame that after getting